Here on the Colour of Country Life, good to catch up again with Andrew Partridge from Michell Wool. Andrew, how are you going?
Very well, thank you, Ricky.
Look, another week of red across the fine breeds in particular, and even across the mediums. Things looking a bit ordinary this week of trading.
Yes, mate. Yeah, unfortunately, it's a bit of a ground dog situation with the fine wool sort of continuing to lose ground. We've got a lot of weaner wool and sort of, for want of a better word, sort of worse at performing wools coming on the market. So the premiums and discounts are really widening in the fine wool market, and the Italian market's still pretty good. Like, there's still good prices for very nice fine wools, but the indicators are dragging back now, and those premiums to the sort of mediums are really starting to shrink. And you look at the 90 market indicator now around the $16 clean, 20 market indicator around the sort of nearly back to mid-30s, 1300s at 1340 odd. That's 250 cents clean. That's starting to shrink a bit.
Certainly is, but even so, despite all of that, the offering's still running above what it was the year before. I guess that's just because there's that much volume around. People need to keep it moving.
Keep it moving. I think we had a bit of a COVID situation last year where it was just sort of being held back a little bit. But in the same breath, I'm guessing the farmers out there are having a bit better times, and the wool's being held back in maybe coming onto the market now. So wool's not necessarily being put into the first sale after it's shorn. There's been a bit of a bank of wool held back in broker stores. So, yeah, that number will just sort of bob up and down. I've seen a wool production figure just come out this morning. Actually, I haven't got it in front of me, but I'm predicting there probably, I think there is an increase in wool production with the better season.
Oh, I dare say for sure. Certainly more individual animals out in the paddock going forward as well. So the supply sides are going to be pretty strong, I imagine.
Yeah, that's right. So we're going to see enough sort of wool coming forward on the market. We've got this sort of a laxy-daisy sort of macroeconomic conditions in the background, which is affecting things. Currency, obviously, that's the one positive with us. We've got a low currency, which is 8% lower than the same time last year. So the price of wool is not the problem; it's just the demand. So We've got to fix the demand,
and a lot of
we all know what's going on.
And a lot of that's out of our hands, isn't it? We're sort of around mid-2020 levels in terms of where the dollar's at, and it was climbing at that point, but we're on the downhill run here. But it seems to be particularly America and macro factors like inflation, panic in America about how they're going to get that under control. Interest rates could be climbing, so I guess that starts to affect people's optimism about, buying the superfine and the choice product when they want to get out and about. Yeah,
wool being a discretionary buy, that's the first thing that's going to find trouble, isn't it? Those people aren't going to go and buy those luxury items. So, be it wool, be it Lamborghinis, they're not going to be buying them. So all the bread and butter stuff. Cotton's actually hanging on. The cotton prices around the 100 cent bushel mark. So it's holding. Cotton's okay. There's a bit of a famine going on. I think there's a bit of drought about that's affecting supply of cotton. So cotton prices are okay.
Yeah, I think here in Australia they're not doing too badly at all on the cotton front. But what are we on the bales that we've got on offer for the next week of trading? We've got a regular sort of trading week expected next week in terms of, I guess, volume?
It is, Ricky, yeah. So we're just looking at same for the next couple of weeks. I'm sort of looking for a bit of a spur, hopefully, in the market the next month or so. We've got the Chinese election coming up, and there's a bit of a whisper going around to get to relax their COVID zero policy, which could create a bit of a demand for the domestic scene. As we know, the Northern Hemisphere, we look for them to have a really ripping cold winter, so they go out and buy some more and more clothes.
Yes, yeah, I think any election coming up, they're looking to do, any government, even one with a questionable democratic record in China, that still nonetheless want to be, I guess, appealing to the public going into the election by easing things off a bit.
Yeah, correct. And he's a pretty tough bloke over there too. Like, I think there's been some sort of funny things coming out of China, the way they treat their, I think he's, like you say, looking for a positive, looking for some popular votes, and sounds like he's going to get back in.
Yes, I suspect so. Andrew, thanks for joining us again from Michell Wool. We'll catch the update next week, see if we can get it moving in the right direction for producers next week.
Thanks, Ricky.